Okay, so if you finished your Got It questions on part 1, you're now going to begin part 2, and then part 3 will also be in this video. So the first thing for part 2 is that there's an intro here. It says that you can find the slope of a line by subtracting the coordinates of any 2 points on the line. The first y coordinate you use for the rise must be the same point as the first x coordinate you use for the run. So now they're going to give you the 2 points and only give you those 2 points, okay? But whatever you do, you have to remember to keep it as your y over your x. Slope is always the change in your y over your change in x, okay? So the example that they have here, if you look, they took the y on this point, because this is your x, and they took the y on this point, because this is your x. And they did 3 minus 0, and then for your x coordinates, since I started with 3 first on my y's, I have to start with -4 first on my x's. So for my x's, I have to do -4 take away 2. Okay, so if I have 3 minus 0, that gives me 3. And if I'm at -4 and I have to take away 2 more, that means I'm at -6. So for my slope, I have 3 over -6, which then reduces down to -1/2. Okay, you're going to practice doing the same thing. The first one is the example, however. So let's look at this example. Okay, if it helps to label, I would label them. I know it helps me. So for each coordinate, I'm going to go ahead and label which numbers are my x's and which numbers are my y's. Because I always have to do the change in y over the change in x. And that triangle just means change. Okay, so I'm going to start with my y. So I have 2 take away 4 for my first y's. And then I have -3 take away 2. So if I have 2 take away 4, I'm now at -2 over. And if I'm at -3, and I have to take away 2 more, that means I'm at -5. Okay, then I have -2 over -5, a negative over a negative is a positive, so for my slope for A, I would get 2/5. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for my second example here. I'm going to label each point, x, y, x, y. But for my ratio, I have to do the change in y over the change in x. Okay, so for this, I'm going to go ahead and do 1 take away -5 over, for my x's, 6 take away 8. If I'm at 1 and I have to take away a negative, taking away a negative is the same thing as adding a positive, because I've taken away the negative is no longer there. So now I have 1 plus 5, which is 6, over, and then I have 6 take away 8, that leaves me at -2. 6 divided by -2 then gives me -3. So my slope is -3. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for the last one. I'm going to label each point. And then for my slope, I have to do the change of y over the change of x. So I'm going to start with 4 take away 4 over -2 take away 1. So I have 4 minus 4, which gives me 0. And if I'm at -2 and I have to take away 1 more, that means I'm at -3. So -2, or for the A, it's 2/5. B, it's -3. And for C, I got 0 over -3. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the solutions here to make sure we're correct. 2/5 was A, -3 was B, and 0 over -3 was C. And 0 over -3 then reduces down to 0, so the slope of the line is 0. All right? Now think about it. If your slope of the line is 0, that means that there is no slope, which means you should have a horizontal line. That was the best horizontal line I could make. You guys should be proud. All right, let's do your Got It questions. The first one, it says, What is the slope of the line that passes through the points 5, -3, and -1, -2? So let's go ahead and label each point so that you know how to find your change of y over your change of x. So I'm going to take my y first, -3, take away -2. Then my change of x, 5, take away -1. Okay? Once again, I'm taking away the negative, and it looks like I'm doing that to both. So really it's saying -3 plus 2, and it's saying 5 plus 1. So think of a number line. If I'm at -3 and I have to add 2, I would then be at -1. If I have 5 plus 1, that's 6. So my slope is -1/6. Okay, and we can double check our answer. And it's -1/6. Last got it question for part 2. It says the line shown has an undefined slope. Use the points to show or explain why. So you're just going to do the same thing that you would normally do. Label your x's and label your y's. So change of y over your change of x. Y is 3 minus 1 over x is 3 minus 3. I have 2 over 0. 2 over 0. 2 divided by 0. You can't do it. It's not likely. You can't do it, which makes it undefined. Now, just like the previous question, we had 0 over -3. You can say 0 divided by -3 is 0, but you can't do 2 divided by 0. It's undefined. So an undefined slope is a line that is vertical, goes up and down. A 0 over -3 or a 0 slope is a line that is horizontal. It doesn't have any slope. It doesn't move up. It's horizontal. Okay? Make sure you know the difference between the two. Then we're going to go ahead and do the last part, which is part 3. And then you guys can start your homework. So, for part 3, it says the building code for a ramp recommends the ramp should rise no more than 1 inch for every 12 inches of length. Does the ramp shown meet the building code? How do you know? Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the solution here. If you look, the ramp shown, I'll go ahead and exit out, has a run of 70 inches and a rise of 8 inches. So like it says here, no more than 1 inch for every 12 inches. So we're going to go ahead and look to see if it works. So the rise was 8 inches and the run was 70 inches, or the height is 8 inches and the run was 70 inches. And we already knew that the information was that it can't be 1 inch high for every 12 inches long. So we're going to determine if the ramp meets the code, and we're going to do rise over run to compare the ratios. Okay, so the ratio of rise was 8 over 70 is your run, which then reduces down to 4 over 35. So then we need to go ahead and take the ratio that they gave us, which is 1 over 12. We know if we compare those ratios, 1 over 12, which is approximately 0.0833, is less than 0.1143. So because that 4 over 35 is bigger than that, that tells us that this 4 over 35 does not meet the requirements. Remember, it said it can't be no more than this. So since this is more than that, it does not meet the building code. Another way that you could do it besides turning it into a decimal is finding a common denominator. All right, last part. It says, which roof is steeper? Roof A with a rise of 12 and a run of 7, or roof B with a rise of 8 and a run of 4? So if you look here, roof A, we have a rise over run, 12 over 7. Okay, if we wanted to change that into a mixed number, you can divide can say that it goes into it 1 5/7. And then for roof B, we have 8/4, okay, which then is just 2. So which roof has a steeper slope? You would then say, based off of our work, that roof, scroll down, that roof B has the greater slope. We had 12/7, which was 1 5/7, and we had 8/4, which was 2/1 or 2. So 2 is greater than 12/7, which means roof B has a greater slope. Alright guys, you've already finished all 3 parts. So if you've shown all of your work in your packet, you can put your packet in the notes section in your binder and you can get started on 5-3 for homework.